This is a battle in the I Choose You tournament. Finals of that tournament, best of 3. It's Iraklis coming up against AK again. These two guys have been meeting each other a lot in tournaments lately, so the rules are quite complex for this tournament. Iraklis sent a link with the rules. Let's just say that the rules are geared towards making more factions viable and making the barbarian factions and Rome slightly less dominating. So I think you'll see that in the other battle here. But here we have Massagetae coming up against Royal Scythia. Massagetae bringing a front line of Saka Cataphract horse archers. So you get a bunch of ammunition, you get a bunch of armor, and you get 40 missile damage. And they're not too shabby in melee either, actually. And with their mass, they can do a lot of damage. However, of course, against cavalry, that is of slightly lesser use than against infantry. However, cavalry in Rome 2 does take impact damage. That's a difference from Attila. So if this Saka Cataphract horse archer, very heavy, charges into the light Scythian Amazonians, they will absolutely wreck them. Then we have a bunch of Steppe Lancers, Steppe Noble Lancers. In the back we have Steppe Lancers, Steppe Lancers, Steppe Lancers. Very cheap, a lot of these Steppe Lancers. And the Scythian Amazonians, they have 150 range. And 150 range puts the hurt on the Massagetae. The engagement starts so quickly that I barely have time to go over the armies. So Steppe Noble Lancers for the Scythians here. A bunch of lancers, so this is basically all shock cav and all skirmish cav and all shock cav and all skirmish cav battle. This is the most anti-Rome 2 battle I've seen in a tournament final, I think. Now the Saka Cataphract horse archers start getting picked off, but the Scythian Amazonians took the worst of this engagement. Barely, let's see, losing 5, losing 8. But the Saka Cataphract horse archers are a much more expensive unit. But when you have a lot of these shock cav units, baiting arrows on these guys isn't the worst of ideas. But here comes the Steppe Noble Lancers charging in against the slow Saka Cataphract horse archers. This is quite bad for the Steppe Noble Lancers, actually, because they don't have any shields. They're going to take hit point damage, and when the engagement starts here, these other shock cataphract, other shock cavalry units will not have taken any hit point damage, whereas these guys are actually getting picked apart. And this is a very expensive unit. Steppe Noble Lancers are very expensive, and now look at them get shot to pieces here. This is very bad. They are very heavy, they're chasing after very heavy, they're not going to be able to catch them, and they're getting absolutely picked apart here. They're getting slaughtered. So here the Saka Cataphract horse archer general moving up against the Steppe Armored Lancers. The Steppe Armored Lancers only heavy, so these guys are active. They need to be very careful, but this is a huge mistake that Scythia is making. Just moving away from, continually moving towards the Massagetae and getting all of their shock cavalry units smashed in the process. Now these guys are getting into the back of the Saka Cataphracts. Very hard to micro an all Nomad battle. So these Steppe Noble Lancers should get in here. They should get into the Steppe Armored Lancers. But look at what's happening here. Continually just losing men. This Steppe Noble Lancer hasn't gotten a single kill, and it's gone. The general over here is in trouble, because if he keeps running away and keeps getting attacked in the rear, he's going to be losing a lot of men. Stopping a few of the units in pursuit here with the Steppe Armored Lancers, or Steppe Noble Lancers rather. So many Lancers on this battle, on this battlefield. But it seems like the general is going to be fine, because there are Steppe Lancers, medium shock coming into support. Full strength unit. Getting the charge here against the Steppe Armored Lancers. And they're getting the attack in the rear penalty, because these engagements are very chaotic. So the Scythians are regrouping. That mad chase didn't work out too well for them. The Saka Cataphract horse archers got a lot of killing done. But look at this, 2 of the Scythian units, Steppe Armored Lancers and the Steppe Armored Lancers, are routing off the field here, and the Steppe Lancers charging in. Very nice for this. A relatively cheap unit that's able to do very well on the charge. Now the Draco is being popped. I think using all shock cab is a very good idea when you're going up against the Scythians, because Draco has less of an effect against a unit that has a massive charge bonus and not as big of a bonus against cavalry. Draco, of course, devastating against melee cavalry. Against shock cavalry, especially when the shock cavalry has their charge bonus up, it doesn't do that much. It still has an effect, but not as devastating as it is against melee cavalry. And the Saka Cataphract horse archers are being very ballsy here, running up against the Steppe Noble and getting a lot of killing done. They are winded. They need to be very careful. But I think the Scythian shock cavalry has gotten enough of chasing after these units. I think they're going to be wary of doing the same thing that cost them so many lives in the opening of the battle, because that was devastating. Look at all this carnage here. Horses and men spread across the battlefield. So now it's Massagetae going on the offensive. And the Scythian Amazonians, they are a great unit, but only if you manage to stay out of range of the enemy. Because these gals cannot take fire, whereas the Saka Cataphract, of course, can tank a significant amount of fire. Still, heavy shot on the Amazonians is going to chew through them, but it doesn't look like the... Thing is though, if the Amazonians use heavy shots, then these Saka Cataphracts are going to be able to get in with their normal shots. Making a mad dash again towards the Saka Cataphract horse archers here. It looks like they might be out of ammunition at this point. These guys are not out of ammunition, and they're getting some shots off. Very tired now, running back towards their lines. But tanking as much damage as possible on these Cataphract horse archers is a great idea, I think. Save the shock cavalry, and here comes the shock cavalry charging into the flank of the Steppe Noble Lancers. The Steppe Lancers being used very well, able to tie down almost the entire front line. Sending in the Steppe Lancers, the cheap Steppe Lancers, to tie down all these units. Sure, they are going to lose heavily on the charge. They're also going to enable other units to go in and get their charges. So if you're a Steppe faction and you start blobbing, and you have a lot of shock cavalry, that's a death sentence. So now the Saka Cataphract horse archers rushing in as second line, tanking a bit of damage there, doing a bit of damage themselves. And here you see the Saka Cataphract horse archers are defeating the Steppe Noble Lancers in melee, because they were very depleted, had taken hit point damage. And Steppe Lancers coming in from every which angle. The Scythian Royal Horse getting charged here by multiple units of Steppe Lancers. Draco being popped, reducing the bonus versus large down to 0 for the Steppe Lancers. And the Scythian Royal Horse is a very good melee cav unit. The thing is though, look at all of these Massagetae units here. They will very soon be in a position to inflict their charge bonuses on the Scythian Royal Horse. And the expert charge bonus does not work on cavalry units. It's one of the bugs that was never really fixed or never looked at, I think. If the unit dismounts, then it gets its expert charge bonus, but if it's mounted, the expert charge bonus flat out doesn't work. Now the Scythians are wavering across the battlefield. The general is getting ganged up on. He's holding very well here, getting a lot of kills. These are all cavalry kills, pulling out now. And he's going to be losing men on the disengage here. There's nothing that Scythia can do here. And Scythia lost this battle mainly in the opening stages, when the Amazonians moved into range of the shorter range Cataphract Horse Archers, and when the oh, come on, a bit tired here. When the Lancers decided to chase after these Saka Cataphracts, and you can see the Saka Cataphract Horse Archers, 7 of them really pulled their weight in this battle, whereas the Amazonians didn't do much. This is what I'd call a classic Iraklis army. It's within the rules. He has a bunch of Steppe Lancers, very cheap Steppe Lancers. He's banking on these Saka Cataphract Horse Archers to tank and to do a lot of damage, and they absolutely do so. But who would have expected an army of just Saka Cataphract Horse Archers and Steppe Lancers? I certainly wouldn't. And it takes some Total War Rome 2 balls to be able to bring this army. It worked for him. Greek Iraklis lost in the Son of Macedon tournament against AK, and now he's starting to bring some of that back. This is more like the Iraklis that we're used to seeing. So there are going to be more battles. It's a best of 3, so we might be lucky, and we might get a really good series out of these 2 players. Strength and honor.